Hey everyone, Brian Murphy here along with Ben Gessling, heading into a Week 13 matchup at Lambeau Field. The Vikings kind of on the ropes here a bit at 6-5, Green Bay at 7-4. Probably their last chance to really make some hay in the playoff race against an NFC North opponent. I guess we should probably get to the big news first, which is Percy Harvin doesn't look like he's going to be able to go for a third straight game.
Yeah, and really, it's 3 games and a bye week. I mean, this was something that I think everybody thought after it happened, he'd take the bye week and he'd be back for Detroit. But to be missing now 3 in a row after that, ready for Chicago after the bye, but he missed a game before the bye and then missed 2 after that now. It's obviously something that's been a bigger issue than the Vikings intended it to be, and going into a game where you probably are going to need to trade touchdowns a little bit with the Packers, it's certainly a big loss.
Well, you know, they're coming off a tough loss in Chicago where they really didn't even show up in a lot of ways. Chicago is also coming off a national television embarrassment on the road against San Francisco. Their offensive line was a big storyline, beat up, wounded. Was Jay Cutler going to be able to be protected? While the Vikings didn't get to him much at all. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, kind of a similar situation. They got trounced in New York Sunday night. Offensive line is a worry again. Are the Vikings going to be able to get to him? And if they don't, are they going to be able to have any chance?
Well, I think if they're going to have a chance, they have to get to him. I mean, we saw it what the Giants did. I think the Packers had the same problem against the 49ers early in the season. They had a few teams that have done a lot of that cover 2, rush 4, and they've been able to get to Aaron Rodgers because that offensive line is struggling. But I mean, those defenses we talk about, obviously the 49ers in there, the Bears have played that way against them for years too. Those are top-end defenses. And are the Vikings that good? This is a good metric to find out. I think it's one of those games where if you can go in there and control Aaron Rodgers, especially with those receivers that they have, they get Greg Jennings back. If you can go in there and at least slow him down, you give yourself a chance. If not, if you give him a chance to take the deep shots down the field that he likes, I think it's going to be a long day. I just don't think the Vikings offense is capable of getting into a 35-31 type game with this team.
No, they're definitely not a team that can get into a shootout or get the ball downfield that much. And we're also looking at a situation where this is their second big division road game in a row. They've got the Bears coming in next week, but if they lose and they're looking at 6 losses already, they're not going to be in good shape with the tiebreaker with either Tampa or Seattle. I mean, it's kind of their last chance to make hay if they really do want to be relevant. So considering how they played in Chicago, I think there's a lot at stake, just not only for their playoffs, but for their pride, for how they're going to be able to go forward with their quarterback. I mean, what do you see being, sort of the pivotal things that are going to come out of this game?
Well, I think it was interesting this week. Leslie Frazier said, I think Christian Ponder said it too, that yeah, there's playoff positioning on the line, but they know that this rivalry has not been good for them lately, and they know how much it means to their fans to beat the Packers. So I think that's on their minds a little bit too, to win this game and give their fans a little bit of bragging rights against all the Packer fans that seem to take up residence in this area. So that's certainly an element of pride there, and I think they'll come out with plenty of energy, but it's going to be one of those situations where can they execute well enough. I think the big key for them is to get a lead. If they can get up and run the ball, then they have a little bit of a chance. But this is not a team that plays well from behind, and the Packers obviously are in one of those modes where they need to prove some things after last week, and that's kind of been Aaron Rodgers' MO, is when people start to knock him a little bit, he comes back with a big game. So it's the kind of thing where you need to jump on him early and let that pass rush loose and be able to run the ball and control Aaron Rodgers that way.
And definitely be able to survive. I mean, in the Vikings' 5 losses, they've lost by an average of 11 points. They've also trailed at halftime by an average of 11 points. So this is a team that is not, once it gets behind and it can't give the ball to Adrian Peterson consistently, it's not a team that's going to be able to get chunks of yardage that quickly. So we'll check in with you at Lambeau Field probably after Sunday night's game, and we'll have a pretty good idea of whether the Vikings are still going to be relevant in December or they're going to be playing for next year. So for Ben Gessling, it's Brian Murphy. Talk to you soon.